Hey guys, it's me, Jack24 here today. I'm sorry about that. Today I'm here just to basically discuss about what I thought about the movie of Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. First of all, I want to say for the visual effects budget of that Hollywood film, I'm actually surprised that it wasn't that large of a budget for a MonsterVerse film. Which, if you give me a moment, I will pull up this. Hold on, Monster versus film budgets, because this shall be the easiest way for me to show kind of Let me see. Let me see, because so far, no, where is the no, where is no, that's not going to be that. Where is the budget for the Here, alright. I'll say for here's the Godzilla versus Kong budget, which that was the recent one, but if I go to no, this was the recent one between this was the King Kong versus Godzilla remake. But if I go up here and do Godzilla X Kong, it was about 135 million. Which, by the way, this is one of the lowest, and I do mean this, lowest MonsterVerse films, because if I look up, because here's just what Godzilla versus Kong looks like. And besides, they really only had about three main monsters in Godzilla vs. Kong. However, in Godzilla X Kong, oh boy, it's entirely, and I do mean this, entirely focused on the monsters. Which, if for y'all that are new to the verse, especially in the American version, oh boy, the human characters suck, and I mean that. That is practically one of the weirdest things ever, because the human subplots always suck in the monster films. I mean, Kong Skull Island had a decent human subplot. King of the Monsters kind of lost it. Godzilla vs. Kong had a pretty bad human subplot. So instead they gave us, and I do mean this more time with the monsters than with the humans on screen. Like, more time was spent with making monsters battle each other. There's plenty of battle CGI stuff in. Meaning, and plus, here's the best part. As we all know, the human characters in those films have meaningless roles. And in this film, they actually have, although a small yet heartwarming role. Granted, it's just the humans following Kong, but they are more or less trying to figure out what's going on with them and what's happening. What's happening. I won't spoil the movie, but man, it is gonna be a fun one. It pretty much what I'm gonna say is that it is practically one of those films where it's a fun watch. It's a fun watch because it's just effectively a lot of giant monster action, monsters fighting monsters, and cool abilities, and quite honestly, a good story arc for Kong. Meanwhile, Godzilla is just hitting just every power station and power buff he's able to get into his arsenal, because he senses a new danger for war, so he prepares for it in the most likely manner, which is to, get buff and into shape. Also, I do want to say one more thing. One more thing before I go. Even though that I do love Godzilla minus one. I will say that since I'm just reading this, practically, I would say Godzilla minus one out of the two films had the very better human story arc because Godzilla minus one is made by Japan, which they've made Godzilla films far longer than Americans have. So they know how to get the human characters in a Godzilla film to at least be tolerable. However, however, for Godzilla minus one, they managed to make them nearly as interesting as every regular being besides the monster himself. Anyways, sorry about that little tangent about that. I just literally saw that. However, I do think it's a bit unfair to kind of connect the two to Godzilla minus one and Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire because both are made by different nations. Granted, same nearly identical concepts. Well, mainly the main concept that they share is Godzilla, and that's about it. That's about it. So, well, actually, Godzilla destroying a bunch of human stuff, and that's pretty much their only similarities. But for American films of the MonsterVerse, the human portions suck in it pretty badly too. So, but I am kind of glad to say that the human characters in this are actually for Godzilla X Kong are actually quite fun. As I wish that I could show you guys a fully long scene from Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire where one of the humans is just having the blast of their lives in a fun scene where they're effectively helping out Kong in a way, and anyone who sees the scene is automatically kind of like understanding, wow, wow, the actor is having a blast with this character, which kind of is enjoyable for once. For once. Anyways, just to make the connection of how much of the lowest verse opening box office, no, not box office budgets that they had was that their 2014 Godzilla, the one that started the MonsterVerse, had roughly a budget of 160 million, meaning yeah, Godzilla X Kong has less of a budget than the film that started off the franchise. So effectively, they managed to fit a ton of CGI creatures, as it's very clear that they learned from the previous two films, Godzilla vs. Kong and Godzilla King of the Monsters, that no one really cares about the humans. Which, to be honest, is good. Good because, I mean, America is kind of incompetent when it comes to making interesting characters in monster movies in the modern age. I mean, of course, back in like the 50s, 60s, and roughly 70s, we had some good times with creating fun characters to watch well in monster movies. But granted, that ability of ours has been going away. So this really was actually quite a good, quite a good movie to watch. Since if you're not really a fan of monsters, but just want to see an epic, a little bit of an action film, just go to the theaters, go watch it. I highly recommend it because I do mean this. It was worth it worth every dime that me and my dad used to go see it because it was quite honestly a good film, and we got to see it on IMAX, which to be honest helps boost the size and scale of the ginormity of both Kong and Godzilla and how loud they actually are compared to the humans. And it's honestly an amazing film. I highly recommend it. Granted, though it might be lacking on some parts of the scores both Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, and Metacritic. However, I will always mention take those views with grains of salt because, to be honest, not a lot of people go to those sites anyways to see how good a film is before watching it. But if you really are one of those people that do that, I would say take a few grains of salt because it really depends on if you're a monster fan in the sense of kaiju's fighting one another, or you just are. All right, I need some giant action and some more because you kind of like it, and that's basically you would enjoy it if you're a fan of action, and if you're a fan of sci-fi, that would work as well. If you're a fan of monsters, Kong, Godzilla, you would like it. However, I would not recommend it to someone that's a Gamera fan. As per usual, Gamera makes no appearance in the Godzilla films. Anyways, after that little jab, I think I'm going to be killed in the comments. Comments by a bunch of angry Gamera fans. So, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.